Hey guys, it's Ingrid and I am so excited today. I found the cutest flip out, flip up thingy from Clemmie's Creations. I'll have her link down below. And she did a semi-tutorial and I'm going to do a semi-tutorial too. So I'm just going to give you the steps to do and then you guys can do the steps depending on the size of your page. Now we will be doing one of these live tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Thursday. So anyways, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take measurements. So you're going to determine the size of the total flip out as well as the length of the flip out. And what you saw me do there is I went ahead and cut off the excess paper, and now I am deciding on where I want my folds. So I know that I want my total paper to be that length. So meaning once it flips out, that's gonna be the total length. I'm actually gonna be cutting one of these off. Originally in Clemmie's tutorial, she's got a flip up as well. I decided at the last minute not to do that one because I had decorated it so much that I didn't want to cover it up anymore, but you can definitely leave that piece for that. So what I did is I scored where I thought my folds would go. And when you are doing this, you're just going to want it. They don't even need to be exactly the same as long as your bottom one is a little bit bigger. I find that lets it fold a lot easier. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just eyeballing it, honestly, and I'm just putting some score lines down. I'm also taking a piece that's about 1 inch, and then it's going to end up being the same height as my flip out. And that's going to be the hinge, and it's going to be on my left-hand side because my flip out is attached on the left, and then it flips from the right into the left. The other thing I wanted to tell you is that see there where I folded it, it was just a little too long. So I'm just going to cut a smidge. That way when I fold it in, it's going to fold nice and flat. And so that's my biggest tip of my biggest takeaway from this. And you just want to make sure that you are folding. A bone folder is very useful for this because you want the paper to lay as flat as possible. But if you don't have a bone folder, it's okay. Use the back of a pair of scissors. You want something with a blunt, like soft edge so you don't cut through the paper, but you just want to flatten the paper as much as possible. With this project, I would definitely recommend that you use a Fabri-Tac, a strong double-sided tape, or some other kind of really strong glue because you are adding a lot of bulk to this and you want it to stay put. So here you're going to see is when I am messing with the flip out, and I decided at the last minute that I was going to decorate first and then do the flip up, which never gets added. But I purposefully left it in the video so that you could see kind of my process of how I did it. And I'm going to speed it up just a little. I usually divide my projects up into 2 different categories. First, it would be the technical part. So that's anything that needs kind of measuring, or in this case, it's anything that makes the flip work. And then the second part, which is this, and that's going to be the decorating part. So you have a couple of options here. We are going to cover both the front and the back of the flip out. I decided to cut each of the pieces of paper to go inside of each section instead of doing one whole thing. To me, I think that it gives it a little bit nicer look when you can see the base of the fold out, but if you want to cover the whole thing and fold it, that's okay as well. I also like to distress the edges, so it just gives it a lot more texture and interest. I think that this is a really cute project. I don't think that you have to distress or do any of that, but personally, I think it just elevates the look just a notch. It's like that extra bracelet that just makes your whole outfit come together. And I'm wondering what you think. Do you think that it's nicer when it's distressed, or do you like it laying down flat? One thing that I kept doing throughout the project was making sure that the flip was actually going to work. And even after I glue it down, and remember, use a good adhesive, before I glue it down, I'm making sure that everything folds in properly. And I would suggest you do the same, because you don't want to glue it in and then realize that it's not going to work. Our next process is going to be to make the pockets. I am not going to measure, and I think that adds again to the look of it and gives it more interest and texture. But what I am going to do is just lay my paper down with my finger hold where I think it where I should cut, and cut it out. I even think that it would be cute if not all of your little squares for your pockets are the same size. A lot of times I get asked what kind of paper I use, and I always say it just really depends on the bulkiness that you want your album to be. I toggle between a heavy cardstock and a lighter copy paper. I think that my lightest copy paper is a 22 pound, but this is a great example of why copy paper works really well. Not only was I able to punch all of my little slats all at one time, but it's a lot easier to distress and to go through a thinner paper than it is a thicker paper. And now you have another option here. So as you can see, I'm going to go ahead and glue down my little squares, and then I'm going to decorate on top of them. I decided not to add any sewing to this, but you could add sewing, and then you have an option. You can sew right through it, including the base of it, or you can sew each square up and then glue it down. If you do the first one, then I would suggest you do that first before you add any decorations or before you cover the pages on the other side. Unless you like that kind of tattered look from sewing, which I like sometimes, and because it's not going to look uniformed, because the front of the sewing is not always look like the back of the sewing, as you guys might know already. So what I will do is glue the pockets down, and then we are going to decorate the whole thing. And this is definitely my favorite part. What's your favorite part of creating? Is it the decorating, or is it the mechanical stuff to find a way to fit pages together, or pick out the, what about picking out the papers that go together? Because even though the kit all goes together, you still have to pick out if you want the thick stripe with the thin stripe, or if you want a thick stripe with the polka dot. And so what is it that you like the best? If you are scratching your head right here and you are wondering what those little squares are, well, I just created them, and I am going to share them with you guys. So make sure that you look out in the Facebook group. They will be there for you to use to go with the rest of the kit. I was trying to think of what the kit was missing, and actually it wasn't really what it was missing, but it was something that I wanted to add to it. And I thought those little squares are so cute. I'm going to try to add them to the next kit as well, because I loved using them, and I can't wait to hear your feedback on them and if you love them as much as I do. And you already know my process for layering is layer, 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 and then layer just a little bit more. And so I'm going to go ahead and let the music just play while you guys finish watching me decorate the rest of the flip out, and I can't wait to hear what you think of it. I am in love with this method. I have so many ideas of how to change it up and make different alterations to it and stuff. So definitely let me know down below. And like I said, we're going to be doing it on Thursday, so I can't wait to do it together. And I look forward to talking to you soon.